What's up, everybody? I am going to do a quick demonstration on how to set up a hatchling enclosure. Now, there is no specific way on how to set these up, but this is what I find works best for me. So you can see here, I have a hatchling, Crested Gecko. This baby is just a couple days old. I have them in a deli cup that is perforated for airflow. I have two different bins. Both of them are 6 quarts. I have my Crested Gecko food. I have my food and water dish. I have a piece of a pool noodle, so you can see I've cut that into a half noodle and then just sized it appropriately. I've got a couple of fake plastic leaves here. And then I also have a sprig of fake eucalyptus. Now, I did find this eucalyptus bush at Walmart, and then I just pulled all the pieces off of it. It's very stiff, and I'll tell you why it's important to have that. Crested geckos may need help when it comes to shedding. In the wild, they're able to rub against bark and other more abrasive surfaces to help them get rid of the shed. So I always like to put in something with a little bit of stiffness to enable them to get that shed off if needed. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a 6-quart tub. So these are very flimsy. You can use a hefty tub. You can use really any sort of bin. I prefer 6 quarts. Some folks do like the half sizes. That's perfectly okay for a crested gecko of this size right here. And you can see that I used a hole saw to drill a hole right there. And then I'm using a plastic vent. Now, some people use metal vents. That's perfectly okay. You can find them on Amazon as a 2-inch louver. They will have tabs, and you can just put the tabs on the outside and install that. I prefer plastic for the simple fact that you never have to worry about it rusting due to the spiking humidity for your crested gecko. So, this is one style of ventilation that you can do. When I first started, I actually used a wood burner and burned small ventilation holes on either side of my setup. That works just great as well. So let us look at this tub. So again, this is a 6-quart. I've also put some ventilation here in the lid by the same means, just using a wood burner, and that's just going to allow the humidity to escape at a proper rate. It is imperative that you don't keep your crested gecko's enclosure wet. That is the most common mistake that I see amongst new keepers, is that they feel like the enclosure should stay wet, the paper towel should stay wet, but that is actually not going to work very well in the long term. So here I have my enclosure. I like to take and buy half-sheet paper towels, and so a half-sheet fits absolutely perfect down in here. Paper towels are a great, probably the best way to house your crested geckos, your young ones especially, because it's going to be very easy to monitor their intake of food by their excrement output. So you are going to look for little fecal matter droppings, and that's going to reassure you that your crested gecko is indeed eating. They eat such a small amount. Honestly, you can see my finger compared to the size of this body of this baby here, and their belly is so much more smaller than even a tiny pea. So we are not going to expect to be able to see them actually eating unless you happen upon them when they are actively eating their food. What I like to do is keep the food and water in the front half of the enclosure. So here I have my bottle saver. This is a shallow, small, very safe water dish for your baby crested gecko. I'm not going to fill it entirely, just a little bit in there, so then if they do feel the need to rehydrate during the drier moments in their enclosure, all they need to do is go right over to the water dish. I love to recycle, so here we have a standard water bottle cap. I will put a dollop of food in there for the crested gecko. I prefer to keep their food and water at the front of the enclosure so I can quickly keep check if they need more food or if they need fresh water. And then I like to put all of their safety pieces of their habitat toward the back. That is also going to prevent them from stepping in their food and walking it onto the foliage. Food on foliage can cause and promote bacterial growth or mold. So by keeping the food more toward the front end, yes, they may still step on it and wipe it on the front of the enclosure, but a damp paper towel is super easy to clean. So I'm just putting some plants and stuff in here for this baby. And then my pool noodle is just going to be a little hangout spot. Now, because it is a half circle pool noodle, it's going to provide a hide for them. 9 times out of 10, when I come and check in on my geckos in the morning, they will be hiding under their pool noodle. It does hold a little bit more humidity and may help with shedding as well. So I think it's a great addition for your crested gecko enclosure. And that's that. Now I've got it all set up. I will release the baby into their setup here. Just a little tickle and they will come right out. Maybe. There we go. So now the baby is all set up. Now I want you to see exactly how small this little baby is. This tank may seem very tiny for us, but for them it is a perfect enclosure where they will feel safe and secure. Plus they will have no trouble at all finding their crested gecko food. When it comes to misting, it is important that you mist every day. When you go to mist, if you do see residual dewdrops, skip that misting. It's important that these guys have a dry out period. So what I will do is I will spray along the side and a little bit on the foliage. And this is going to be perfect for this little crested gecko. So you can see here I have some dewdrops along the side, and that baby will drink from those dewdrops. Oh, and it's actually drinking right now. Let's see. You can see it doing, oh, so cute. And then we are going to put our lid on and secure our baby. Now you can see he's coming up toward the edge, so I'm just going to gently redirect him with just a slight nudge. And voila, your baby crested gecko is safe, secure, and going to do absolutely fantastic.